got to talk about Bitcoin because as you can see, Bitcoin has been going up over the last 7 days. We're up 6.5% in the last 24 hours at 64K. So we're going to talk about where I think Bitcoin is going to go next because what we talked about in the previous video happened exactly like how I said it would. Anyways, remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Let's get straight into it. So just to kind of recap what we were talking about yesterday, I was mentioning how we were going to come up here to the top of this falling wedge here, and falling wedges are bullish patterns. And I was talking about how we were going to come back to the 50-day moving average, and then I was talking about how we were going to bounce back and then break out of the falling wedge to the upside, which is exactly what we are doing. And big shout out to everybody inside of my WAP group, the Crypto and Options Edge group. We got 3 members right now, Jose and Craig Beats. Shout out to y'all. And yeah, they made a lot of money inside of the group yesterday overnight. Craig Beats himself made $5,000 on the trade that we mentioned yesterday. So I'm telling you guys, check out the link in the description for the Crypto and Options Edge group because I'm updating it 24/7. Whereas on YouTube, I'm just kind of doing it one video here and there because YouTube pays me $2 per video. But anyways, go ahead and check it out. It is going to cost you guys some money, $98 a month. But hey, Craig Beats overnight made $5,000, which is absolutely crazy. That pays for the next 50 years of his membership. But anyways, moving on from that, let's talk about where I believe this is going to go next. Because, you know, exactly what I said yesterday is it's happening and it's playing out. So we're breaking out of this falling wedge to the upside here. And if you look at it, we're still on the 4-hour chart. Now, you can also look over here at the percent R, not the percent R trend exhaustion, but the MACD is actually printing out what we call our bearish divergence. And this is where you get higher highs on your chart and your lower highs on the MACD. Now, some people might look at this and be like, oh, Marcellus thinks that the bear market's over. Let's go long. No, you got to look at the context, right? Yes, falling wedges are bullish patterns, but if you enter that said bullish pattern from a downtrend, then it's more than likely going to be a bull trap. So we entered it from a downtrend. So yes, we're in a falling wedge, but we entered from a downtrend. So what I'm expecting here is for the price of Bitcoin to consolidate inside of this area, right? You know, just some sideways trading movement, and then eventually working its way up here towards 68K. I think around this area here, we will end up getting rejected and then coming back down and creating a new lower low, right? I think we're going to be creating new lower lows. So it's only a matter of time, in my personal opinion, but we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, exactly what I mentioned would happen actually happened here. So let's wait and see what continues. But like I said, with the divergence here, with the bearish divergence, this is higher highs on the chart and lower highs on the MACD. You can see right now we are about to create the next lower high on the MACD. What is that going to do? Well, that's going to create the next higher high on the chart. So what do you think is going to happen from here? Well, if the previous high on the chart for the MACD for our bearish divergence was right here around 63K, well, this can tell us that the next one could be anywhere from where it's at now to 64 to 65, 66K, all the way up to 68K. So we're about to create new highs here, right? That is pretty much what's going on. And we can look at our micro support, micro resistance areas, which is very easy. All you got to do is look at where we had resistance and support levels. Now, if you look right here, we had these levels at 65K, 65.4K or whatever. But right here at 65K, we had resistance right there. We had a little bit of support right there. And if you zoom in even further, you will see that we actually had a support candlestick right here as well. So we hit that as support. And then if you come back here, you can see we also used it as support on this candlestick at the end of the wick right there. So it's a very significant level at 65K, 65.4K, give or take. If you come back here, you can see that we touched it multiple times. We hit it here, almost hit it here. We hit it here. And you come over here, almost hit it right there. We hit the level right there. And so on and so forth. If you keep coming in, zooming in here, you're just going to see that this level is a constant level for Bitcoin to hover around and use as support and resistance. So 65K is a very, very, very significant level. And if you come all the way back here, you can see inside of 2024, we used the same level as support several times and used it right here while we had a pullback at the support there. And we broke past it right there, so I'm not even going to mention that one. And if you come all the way back here, you can see August of 2024, we used it as resistance. We used it as support here. And I'm going to keep showing you guys this because this is very, very, very important. And then you can see it here. And yeah, and then we also had more levels. And see, I didn't even have to go all the way back here to know that this is where we have that micro support, micro resistance, or macro if you want to say. But I call the Fibonacci's the macros, and I call just these little levels here my micros. That's just how I do it. And it's really an unorthodox thing that people are going to be like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just making stuff up. Yeah, I made up the term micro support, micro resistance, but it's to classify something that I notice here, and it is a pattern. And this is all trading is, the balance of probabilities when you're looking at patterns. And you can see we hit the resistance there, almost hit it right there, hit the resistance right here, hit the resistance right here, crossed right at the 50-day moving average, hit the support here. And we had some more levels coming all the way back here. All right, so enough of that. I just needed to show you guys that so you guys know 65.4K is a very, very, very significant level. So the reason why I'm showing this level, and let me get all these little circles off here so we can clean up our charts. But like I was saying, the reason why I'm showing you guys that 65.4K level is where do you think it's going to pull back next? Where do you think our next higher high is going to be, right? If you look at the MACD, you can see for our bearish divergence, higher highs on the chart and lower highs on the MACD. Where do you think that next higher high on the chart is going to happen since we're having another lower high on the MACD? Me personally, I think it's going to try to push up here to 65.4K because it's such a significant region for us, right? And I think we're going to end up pulling back from there, trying to touch this, retest this zone here, this little trend line on our falling wedge. And then I think we might have a continuation towards 68K. Obviously, I can be wrong, but this is just how I'm seeing it, right? Now, on the %R trend exhaustion, it is looking a little bit weak right now. We're getting a pullback here on the %R trend exhaustion. If we get rejected here, like how it's doing right now, like you see this white line, that's the short-term trend. Just watch how it's curving sideways. If this pulls back the blue line, which is the long-term trend, then we can see the price having a pretty big pullback from there. But I'm pretty confident that we should get up to 65.4K. That's really my target right there, because it's just such a significant level. And again, I didn't even have to look at anything else but this resistance here to know that that was a significant level. Why did it specifically stop here? Well, it specifically stopped there because when we go back and we look, that's a specific level. I didn't have to look at the specific level. It's just something that you kind of start to realize and understand as you start to trade. It's like second nature in a way. But one thing I'll also mention is right here at 67.2K. Why was that a significant level? Well, we can probably bet that that's going to be another level where we have significant resistance levels, right? So we have it here. We had that right there, as you can see, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to show you all of them for this one. I didn't even have to look at it. All I just see is that one resistance, and I know that it's going to be significant because of that one resistance, right? Because it's not going to hit that resistance for no reason. Obviously, it's doing it for a reason. And as you can see here, we continuously used that region several times, and that was always a support for us to find our base at. Another support right there. If I zoom in, you'll probably be able to see that one right there better. And again, if you come all the way back here, you're going to end up seeing that same level that I just now marked being used over and over again, right? 67K. And why am I telling you guys this? Why y'all are probably going to be like, oh yeah, in the support there, resistance there, blah, 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 blah. But again, why am I telling you guys this? Because right now we are inside of the point of the bear market where it's almost over, right? And there's a specific level that I'm targeting for the bear market to be officially over. And it's a significant level that we hit inside of 2024 before we had a continuation, right? We had a bull flag in 2024, and that bull flag led to the continued breakout of the bull run, right? And that level that was so significant to us was 50K. And this is why I continue to mention 50K. If you look at it, 50K, 52K, all of it's the same, right? But it's that level, right? Around that area of 52K, 50K. That's where we are going to want to look at for our actual bottom. And that's why I continue to mention it. We are going to more than likely reach that level. And there is a possibility that it goes a little bit below it, just like how this candlestick, just like how this wick wicked down to 49K. And that's why I always say, like, maybe it'll hit 49, maybe it'll hit 48. I can't necessarily just say that it'll hit 50K and then be 100% sure on that, because, you know, there's other levels that are actually very, very, very significant. If you actually look back here where we got rejected at the 200-day moving average back in 2022 during that bear market, that was at 48K. And if you actually look, there's multiple times where we used 48K as resistance levels. Multiple times we used it as support levels. And that is just one of those levels that has been very significant to Bitcoin inside the cycles, right? So that's why I say, as we pull back, I'm looking for 50K, possibly 48K, right? Possibly 48K, just wicking it real quick and then continuing down. Now, this is the daily chart. On the daily chart, we have the 50-day moving average right here. I assume that we'll be meeting the 50-day moving average, just so coincidentally, right at the resistance right here at 65.4K, like I've been mentioning. And then we should get that pullback and then possibly a continuation upwards. Then we have the 200-day moving average, which there is a possibility of us breaking past 68K, hitting the 200-day, getting rejected and continuing down. Or, and there's always these possibilities, right? Or we have a consolidation phase and we trade sideways until the 200-day comes down here and meets us around 68K, for which we get rejected at and then continue downwards from there. Either way, we have a continuation downwards. The real question is, how much further are we going to push up before we get rejected and continue downwards, right? Because when you look at the percent R trend exhaustion for the daily chart, you can see the white line, which is the short-term trend, has broken far past the long-term trend, which is the blue line. Every single time this happens, we end up seeing a big pullback inside of the market time and time again. And you can watch literally my last 100 videos on Bitcoin and on any project really, and you'll see me talking about the percent R trend exhaustion. Whenever that white line breaks far past the blue line, you're always going to see the pullbacks and the dumping, right? And that's what's about to start happening here. If that blue line does not follow the white line up there. So if that doesn't happen on the percent R trend exhaustion, we should see the pullback. Also, this buying pressure is going to eventually slow down. That's a lot of buying pressure, yes, but it's not going to go up forever. It's got to pull back eventually. So you got to be careful with that one there. And then when we pull up the weekly chart here, you can also still see that we have the bullish divergence. Bullish divergence is lower lows on the charts while having higher lows on the MACD. If you look at here, we're having higher lows on the MACD. Boom, boom, boom. Now we're going to get that buying pressure coming in. That's going to still create the lower lows on the charts. Right now, it's just going to bull trap people. Just let it bull trap people real quick, possibly pushing up to 68K or even possibly pulling up to 74K like I mentioned before, one or the other. Possibly, we'll see what happens. Maybe some consolidation around here, but eventually we're going to make that last lower low. And then we are going to finally start this bull market. So it's literally a matter of time and patience right now, right? And something I always mention inside of my group, the Crypto and Options Edge group, and I'm telling you guys, go ahead and check it out. There's even a trading mastery course in here. And something I mentioned in the trading mastery course and inside of the group and let everyone know is that in trading, you don't want to predict anything, right? You just want to react. You want to react to what's happening. You don't want to try to predict what's happening. You don't want to try to predict what's about to happen. You just want to react to what's currently happening right now, okay? And, it's just something that a lot of people just don't understand. And I know it's not loading right now, so I'm not even going to bother with it. But yeah, like I said before, check out the Crypto and Options Edge group. It's definitely worth it. We already have people making pretty good money inside of the group. Like I said, Craig Beats, he made $5,000 on the previous trade that we were mentioning yesterday inside of the group. and I'm pretty happy for him. He made some really good money inside of one day. All right, so definitely check it out. But like I was saying, it's all about reacting. All right, it's all about reacting. I don't know why this thing is reacting like this, but it's all about reacting and not predicting. I even made a post here talking about it. Right, you don't want to predict the market. You just want to react to what the market is telling you. Right now, what the market is telling us is that we're about to have a temporary push upwards. So you just react. Literally, what happened right here? Well, the market was telling us, well, we are hitting a resistance area, right? But we're quite not there. We're not quite there yet. So yesterday, I was telling, I was telling the member Craig Beats, I was like, hey, we're not gonna just drop all the way down to the 50-day moving average, right? We're gonna do a bear trap, right? We're gonna act like we're pulling down, and then we're going to come up here to the top of this range, and then we're going to do it. That's exactly what happened, and that's how he made the money. And then I was like, after that happens, we are then going to bounce off of the 50-day moving average and then break out above the falling wedge, right? And that is exactly what happened, right? If you look at the chats that I was saying, that's literally exactly how it happened. I said, "Yep, I seen that." Now comes to the 50-day moving average, followed by a possible push to the upside of the wedge if bulls push it up enough, right? Because this is what we were looking at right there, and it did exactly that. It pulled back. If you come back and you look at all these other different things I was showing the whole process. And I was like, all right, this is about to happen now. Possible pull out to 62.3K if we go below, right? And then I was like, all right, now we're about to do this. Now we're about to do that, right? So definitely check out the Crypto and Options Edge group, everybody. It looks like we're having a continuation to the top of the falling wedge, right? You could have caught it on the top, or you could have caught it on the continuation upwards, and then you could have caught it on the pullback, and then you could have caught it back up to the continuation upwards, right? So I'm telling you guys, check it out. It's only $98 a month. If you guys are trading with enough money, you're going to make that back inside of your first trade. All right. But like I said, in YouTube, I'm making like $1 or $2 per video. YouTube, the only thing I'm focused on is pleasing the members on the YouTube channel, which is only $10 a month. If you want to become a member on the YouTube channel, all you got to do is literally comment on any one of my videos, say, Marcellus, can you make a video on this or that? But I only really do that for the members because I really don't have time to do other people's requests anymore. So become a member of the YouTube channel. You can have me do a video. Or if you want a pocket me, right? If you want me in your pocket and anytime you want to ask me a question and you want the trading course mastery as well, trading mastery course, then just go ahead and join the Crypto and Options Edge group, link in the first description thing. So yeah, link in the description. Go ahead and check that out. I think you guys can make a lot of money if you guys go ahead and join this, because you literally have access to me for most of the day, right? Obviously I got a life too, right? I got to do things too, but you'll have access to me for most of the day, right? Not all day. All right. And I'll also check out Advantis if you want to do DeFi perps trading on the Base platform, one of the best trading apps out there for Base. Definitely check it out. And I actually use this. I really do like it. When it comes to DeFi trading platforms, this is my preferred method for trading DeFi perps. So go ahead and check that out. Link in the description. So yeah, this is all I got for you guys today. Again, hit the like button and subscribe. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. And as always, I'll be back with another video.